Hey guys, Urban Combat Survivor here. This is a video response to Shall Not Be Infringed. He put up a video. It's right now. It's called Movie 450. He hasn't put a title up for it yet, but it was a response to the last video I put up, talking about why we need to start any community or safe zone firmly on the foundation of a republic and a free market. And I gotta say, right in the beginning of your video, you said the only video in that conversation that you'd watch is mine, and that you hadn't really gone and looked at the other ones. And you know what? I'm glad you did that. I'm glad that you made your video response the way you made it, man. Because one, you showed it was perfect, man. You showed the visceral response that I was talking about when I said you're going to start infighting in your group. You showed exactly that kind of ingrained American freedom that people in this country have always been willing to fight and die for. The concept, go around and watch these videos. I want to say something. Dangerous Dan's not in this conversation right now, but I'm going to say something to you, Dan. You made a video a couple days ago, I guess, where you said that you don't have any reverence for the founding fathers of this country. Like you don't have any respect for them. You call them a bunch of hypocrites and all this other stuff. I'd like to hear your thoughts on this at the end of this video. I'd like to hear your thoughts, even if it's just a comment or a private message. If you go around and you look at these videos that are going around, these ones that I responded to, and look, there's some out there that I didn't respond to that were even worse. And you see exactly what separated the founding fathers from everybody else in history. This is a comment I left on that video I'm talking about to Dan. That so many people have talked about it, but how many people have actually stood up and done it? And well, it wasn't their idea. They took this philosophy from John Locke and that philosophy, whatever. But none of those men stood up and put their lives on the line and did it. That's why the founding fathers deserve respect, in my opinion. You look at all these guys. Everybody's getting ready, in one form or another, one fashion or another, for some form of breakdown. That's what this community is really doing, right? And you look at the people in this community, and you hear them talking about only people with property are allowed to vote. That's called feudalism. Everything should go into a community pool. It's called communism. I'm the one who made this place safe, so I'm the one that's going to call the shots. It's called tyranny. It is sobering, though not really a surprise, to see the automatic reaction of so many people to grab onto some form of power for themselves so that they can maintain control over everyone and everything other than themselves. And that mindset is exactly why we have gone from a country that was founded by free men and people, a population who lived as free men, into this ridiculous hybrid society that we live in today. That thinking right there. The people who are not strong enough in their conviction towards individual determination, that they are incapable of conferring that same right onto everyone else. I'm glad, Shall Not Be Infringed. And Mike, I'm glad that you didn't watch the other videos. I'm glad you gave that visceral, automatic response that you gave, dude, because that was it. And you know what? I want to talk about some of the stuff you said in your video. The boat example was great, but I'm going to skip right past that. Because you stumbled on, man, with a slip of the tongue, you stumbled on the whole key, in my opinion. You were talking about firewood and how they're going to say to you, well, you have the ability to create firewood. And then you paused and you said with sarcasm, yeah, created it, just magically happens. Yeah, see, that's the key, man. All of these people, to them, If they didn't work for it, yeah, it just magically happened. See, that's the thing. All these people that are so willing to take your hard work for the community good, how many of them are out there busting their hump and giving their stuff for the community good? How many of them? I don't know, man. I think right there, I think you nailed it. You know, no, nothing magically happens. People have to get off their butts and go out there and earn shit. And that's no different in a breakdown situation, man. If there's a breakdown of the rule of law, man, that's doubly true, because now there's no welfare. Nobody's going to carry you. Nobody's going to feed you. You got to get up off your ass and do it for yourself, or you don't have it. Or what? You're going to turn into a thief, and you're going to get shot, because you know what? Nobody has to worry about being sued by your family because some scumball lawyer was willing to take it to court. You know, your examples, man, the way you reacted, you know, that whole comparison, I mean, it couldn't have been more perfect than what you said about, well, how about your daughter? How can she be community property, right? I mean, if my boat is community property, if my food is community property, well, how come your daughter isn't? And you know what? That nails it, man. How many of those guys that they want to be a tyrant, how happy are any of these people going to be if they aren't the one that gets to be the tyrant? If somebody else is the one that steps up and has more power and is the tyrant, then all of a sudden they're going to cry tyranny, right? This is exactly why we all need to build the foundation. If this ever did happen, man, we need to take every single step, every action, every word needs to be towards the goal of building a foundation of republic and free market, man. That's what we need to do. And I really hope people out there, I hope some people are out there paying attention to this. Because if it ever happens, you're going to think you have a community put together. You're going to think you have a safe area put together. And everybody's going to turn against each other. You start saying, oh, well, you know, you need to give this in and you need to get out, you know, when things are crazy at first, you know? When everything's going nuts and this is the only safe place and everything outside is pure chaos all day, all night, the people are going to be willing to go with this game of, well, yeah, sure, we'll put this all in for the community good. Yeah, we'll put all the ammo in for, you know, for defending ourselves because we got to live. But once that immediacy of life or death passes, they're going to want their shit back. And the people who are benefiting from that stuff that want the community pool, they're not going to want to give it back. And right there, you're going to have planted the first seed of a tiny little revolution in your own damn community. Because somebody decided that because it's an emergency, tyranny is okay, or communism, or fascism. Somebody decided that all of a sudden feudalism was a great idea. No, you can't let this happen. So I don't know, man. I think you nailed it. The only point of contention I have of what you said, Mike, is you said your neighbors wouldn't even try it. They're smart enough not to try it, or at least the ones who know you aren't going to do it. You know, they're not going to try to come to your house and take your stuff for community good. And I mean, I know you're not a dumb guy, dude, and I know you're not going to trust these people, but this is really for the benefit of other people. Don't get complacent in your situation thinking, oh, well, my neighbors know me, they know I'm armed, and that kind of thing, because they may know you're armed, but you know what? People start getting crazy ideas. And just like Mike said at the end of his video, it's the knife in your back, man. Keep your friends close and your enemies closer. It's the knife in your back that's going to get you, not the one in your face. So, you know, don't get complacent with this stuff. Don't think that your neighbors can't be swayed by, you know, that group of 30 guys that came to your barrier. And there's 30 armed men who pointed over their shoulder and showed you another 25 or 30 armed men and said, we're all together. So, you know, we want you to pay. We want this many guns, this much food, this much firewood. And if you guys don't pay up, well, we're just going to take it. We're going to ransack everything and we're going to take it. How quickly are those neighbors that you think are smart enough not to try it? How quickly are they going to turn on you and say, you're the one that has the guns, they want 12 guns, they want, 1,000 rounds of ammunition, you're the one who has it, we want you to pay this bribe or our community is not safe, it's good of the community. So, don't think there's not a situation where your own neighbors aren't going to turn on you. Because before it's over, when they're starving, when they're desperate, have no doubt that they will turn on you if it comes to life or death for them in their eyes. You said, how much do I trust the people in the community or my safe zone? That's a great point as well. This is why I've said throughout all my safe zone videos, there's going to be my core group, my core safe zone. Those are the people I trust. And then there's going to be the greater safe zone, which is my community, my neighbors. I don't trust them. I don't trust them any more than necessity will dictate that I trust them to work in their own best interests in establishing and maintaining the security of the safe zone. Beyond that, no, I don't trust them very far, but I do trust that people are smart enough to want to live. So I know it's kind of a precarious balance to walk, but the situation I'm in doesn't allow me to just take 50 or 60 people and run off to a farm someplace, You did bring up a great point, though. I kind of said this a little bit with your neighbors, but you were talking about, what about in your safe zone? If, one guy gets the idea that he doesn't like the way things are going and he wants your shit, and he goes and starts whispering this guy's ear, and starts whispering that guy's ear, and then those guys whisper in other guys' ears. Well, I have an answer for that. What you're talking about is sowing sedition. Well, you know what? There's only one crime that was included in the Constitution by the Founding Fathers. One crime. And that is talking about impeachment for high crimes and treason. What you're talking about, in my opinion, is treason. They would be talking about the established leadership of the safe zone. I don't think I need to go into too much detail on how I think treason needs to be dealt with. And I would be clearing that from the go. I would be clearing that. As soon as I heard any shit like that going on, I would make it very clear. That's called treason. So, there's that. You said the premise of your video wasn't liberty and justice for all. I disagree, man. I think you started on that, and I think you followed that all the way through. Everything you were saying is liberty and justice for all. You were just talking about it from a side of injustice towards you that you wouldn't tolerate. You weren't talking about taking anybody else's shit. So, yeah, liberty and justice for all, man. The way it's meant to be. You also said you weren't conveying your point really well. That's got to be a joke, dude, because that shit came through perfect. But yeah, at the end of that, man, you said keep your friends close and your enemies closer. So it's not a saying for a reason, man. I know the most deadly knife coming would be the one in my back. We're all gonna have to grow eyes on the back of our head, man. If the situation is that bad, that's what we're gonna have to do. So, Dangerous Dan, brother, please go watch these other videos. Go watch these guys talking about tallying up votes depending on how much worth they deem someone else has. Now, the guy who was saying that American Game File, I don't think he's a bad dude at all. He was trying to come up with a solution for a problem. But the example is still sound. Go look at all these videos out here. Not just the couple I'm talking about, man. And look at the actual percentages on this. Look at how many guys are talking about doing this kind of thing that are actually talking about rebuilding a republic, restoring the Constitution, restoring free market. Look, when I started doing these responses about this whole topic, I've gotten, a couple of messages. Not going to get into how many or who they're from, but I've gotten a few messages that were thanking me for being the lone voice of reason in this storm. How do you think the Founding Fathers felt, man? They had two nations standing against them. And look, I'm just talking videos here. I might lose a couple of subscribers because I stood up and said, no, tyranny is no good, even in a breakdown. Yeah, I might lose a couple subscribers over that. These men lost everything, man, everything. They gave up everything. Every one of them. The British government never stopped going after them for the rest of their lives. They died poor. They destroyed, they confiscated every bit of money that they had in any bank outside the United States, and the majority of their money was outside the United States. So yeah, lots of people sat around and talked about this stuff. How many of them stood up as free men, put everything on the line, and forged this republic that we're living in right now? How many other ones in history have done that? None that I know of. Not a single one. So, yeah, in my opinion, they deserve respect for that. Were they flawed? We're all flawed, man. Every one of us is flawed. It's what we do despite those flaws. It's our actions that define who and what we are and our legacy. And look at the legacy they left that we're currently talking about defending because it's under attack. Well, as much as it's under attack right now, how bad do you think it was for them then? And they stood against that storm. And they forged this nation that we live in right now. Brother, if that doesn't deserve respect, I have no idea what does. Urban Combat Survivor, signing off.